Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your patience. We had a couple of technical difficulties. We had a new computer installed, so we shouldn't have this problem in the future. Keep your fingers crossed on that one. All right, so good evening, everyone. We are on the record. Today is Monday, the 21st day of November in the year 2022. This is a City Council caucus meeting of the Jersey City Municipal Council. We had a scheduled 4 p.m. start. The clock on my cell phone is showing 4:28 p.m. May I have a roll call for the commencement of this caucus? Councilperson Ridley.
Here.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
Here.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Here.
Councilperson Solomon.
Here.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Present.
Councilperson DeGise.
Here.
Councilperson Rivera.
Here.
And Council President Waterman.
Here.
We have all 9 council members present at 4:28 p.m. On behalf of Council President Waterman, in accordance with New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the posting on the bulletin board of the first floor of City Hall, the annual notice, which is the schedule of meetings and caucuses of the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2022, and filed in the office of the City Clerk on Thursday, October 28th, 2021. In addition, at its time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on Friday, November 18th, 2022 at 5 p.m. to the Municipal Council, Mayor, Business Administrator, Corporation Council, and the local newspapers, and posted on the city's website, so I can certify as to our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. Please be advised, we are now live streaming all City Council caucuses and meetings through Microsoft Teams. The links are located on the website and also on your City Council agenda. Council President, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the delay. Our first director is Director Kears.
Good evening, President Waterman, members of the council. I have several items before you, resolutions. First one is Resolution 22-835, 10.22. Resolution will authorize the award of a contract to Northeast Auto and Truck Parts, LLC, to provide various automotive parts under the state contract for the Department of Public Works Automotive Division. The amount of the contract is $1,200,000. Second reso, 22-836, 10.23. Resolution will authorize the award of a contract to City Auto and Truck Parts, LLC, to provide parts for heavy-duty vehicles, Class 5, over 15,000 pounds, under the Sourcewell Cooperative for the DPW Automotive Division. The amount of the contract is $450,000. Bless you. Third reso, 22-837, 10.24. Resolution will authorize the award of a contract to Air Brake and Equipment for the maintenance and repairs of heavy-duty vehicles under the state contract for the Department of Public Works Automotive Division. The amount of the contract is $220,000.
Are these all within the budget for this year?
Yes, they are, Council.
Okay, thank you.
Next one is 22-838, 10.25. Resolution will authorize an award of contract to Sherwin-Williams Company to provide paint and related supplies for the Educational Services Commission in New Jersey. For the Department of Public Works, Buildings and Streets, the amount of the contract is $100,000. Resolution 22-839, 10.26. Resolution will authorize the award of a contract to General Plumbing Supply for supplying various plumbing supplies for the Department of Public Works Division of Buildings and Streets. Amount of the contract, $100,000. 22-840, 10.27. Resolution will authorize the award of a contract to Western Industries North LLC for pest control services citywide for the DPW Division of Buildings and Streets. The amount of the contract, $100,000. The last is Resolution 22-841, 10.28. Resolution will award a contract to Jewel Electric LLC to provide electrical equipment and supplies for the Division of Buildings and Streets, Department of Public Works. The amount of the contract, $80,000.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you all. You have a nice Thanksgiving.
You too have a nice one. Director Shea?
Good evening, Council President, Council members. The Department of Public Safety has one resolution, 22-827. It's a resolution authorizing the Department of Public Safety Division of Police to accept a grant from the U.S. Attorney's Office and the Gifford Foundation in the amount of $227,595 to implement a Project Safe Neighborhood program within our city aimed at stopping violence in the hotspot areas that have previously been identified.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Joe? Una?
Good evening, Council. Great to see you all. It's been a while since I've been here. Tonight, we'd like to present the introduction of ordinance number 22-100, ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 337 Water, Section 13 Water Emergencies, semicolon standards enumerated to include the lead service line replacement program. So essentially, this ordinance will enable us to complete the program as directed by the state of New Jersey, the NJDP to be exact. It's now federal law that we're looking at 9 years and 1 month left, where we will have to have every single lead service removed and replaced in the city. That includes every residential, commercial, school, institutional lead. So approximately 16,000 services known or assumed. And as you might imagine, it's going to be a very large program. I'd like to bring up at this time Kate DePipo from our consulting firm to give you just a few more details on the program. And before you have a packet of information that's fairly well loaded with information, but feel free to reach out in the interim before the second reading, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have.
Council members, would you like me to add this to the ordinance for second reading?
Yes.
Will do.
Joe, thanks for having me, everybody. You have a lot of packet information in the packet that you were just handed out. Some is informational for the residents of Jersey City, the door hangers, palm cards. I direct you to the Lead Free JC website that we have developed as well. Just want to provide a very quick overview of the program. As Joe mentioned, last year, the mayor instituted this law that all lead service line replacements, all lead in any system needs to be removed and replaced by July of 2031. So we're really gearing up and creating everything that's required for this large scale program. As you can imagine, it's going to be quite extensive over the next few years. Wanted to just clarify a couple of things. Jersey City is still in compliance with their water quality, so there's not a water quality issue. It's really just a proactive removing the lead before there could be potentially a water quality issue. We're building our service line inventory, so we're trying to identify all of the service lines in the system, whether they're lead, non-lead. We have a lot of unknowns currently, so that's going to be a large effort over the next 9 years to identify all of those service lines. And we're also drafting up construction contracts that we're going to be looking to put out for bid to replace all those service lines in the system. We're going to be prioritizing customers and areas based on disadvantaged communities and known lead service lines. So we have a prioritization matrix for the city so that we can make sure to target the right areas as well. The program is going to be pretty costly, but we're hoping that doesn't transfer down to the customers. So we're estimating about $288 million over the next 9 years. But we're looking at integrating federal and state low interest loans and grants so that we don't have to raise any cost to the customers as well. As I mentioned, there's a presentation at the end of that packet. We're doing a ton of public outreach. We have Vision Media on board to help us here. Phil's team. So we have a website. We have some information that we handed out to you all that we're trying to go out to different neighborhood groups. So look forward to talking to you all, hopefully in more detail. Maybe it's attending some of your neighborhood group meetings so we can get the word out to your constituents as well. So We have provided some additional educational materials, started talking to the public through different community events at farmers markets and things like that. But wanted to make sure you were aware of the program as well. And if you have any
Questions?
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
in regard to the cost to the residents and the
Yeah.
homeowners.
Yep.
What federal funding are you all applying for? How is that going to work? What is the timeline around that? And then the second follow-up question I would have to that is if property owners do have to bear the brunt of this and they can afford it, are they going to go into a tax lien sale?
What they're going to do, I'm sorry, I didn't hear last week.
Tax lien sale.
So regarding the first question that you had related to the federal and state grants, we've been reaching out to the iBank. We've talked to a number of different people that are familiar with these types of grants and low interest loans. It looks like most of the information and the funding is going to be distributed through the state revolving fund. So we've actually submitted our environmental planning document to the NJDEP already. We did that at the end of October of this year. We actually have a call with them to discuss funding in a bit more detail next week. And then we're also looking at more localized funding opportunities as well. So I know the county has some funding opportunities that actually may be directed more towards residents if they want to apply for specific grants to replace their own lead service lines. But we're looking at a number of different avenues and really trying to get as much funding as we can.
Just also, I see the change in the ordinance directly talking about this and property owners bearing the brunt of the cost. So I just want to make sure that before we're making changes in the ordinance, also that these are aligned.
So thank you. Great question, by the way. I just want to make it clear, though, that because this is a holistic problem on the entire system, can't be singled out and pointed at those 16,000 or whatever the number is going to be. In Newark, they estimated 18,000. They actually found 21,500 or thereabout. Because this actually seeps into the entire system, this needs to be treated as a system-wide project, just like any other water main project that we do in the city. Nobody will be getting a bill for this directly. But unfortunately, the flip side of that is it will be spread over the rates directly. However, we have signs that the federal government, at a minimum, as well as the state, and as Kate mentioned, some other grant sources may be able to give us enough grant funding to make it net zero, basically a free program. We just have no guarantees right now.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, homeowners will not be billed directly, but there's an indirect charge that all property owners in the city of Jersey City may incur because there would be a rate increase to cover the cost?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just like everything else, just like the other $2 to $3 billion of work that we're going to have. This is 288. We're probably close to 3 billion. I think last year when I spoke to the ad hoc committee, when we were talking about Suez, we were at about 1.5 to 1.6 billion. Yeah, that number's a lot higher now.
So question,
And it goes up every day. Sorry.
scanned the QR code, right? Because it says to find out if you have a lead service line. There are a lot of properties that come up as unknown. So how are you all going to determine who has lead pipes and who doesn't?
Right.
So we're working with not only the property owners, you're going to be able to self-certify through a certain process that I believe is outlined when you scan that QR code. But more importantly, using Suez and possibly other outside contractors, we're going to be going to homes where we think we have hotspots to verify. What they do is they swab the line before the meter and attempt to get the best read to see what type of metal it is. Sometimes it'll be inconclusive, but majority of the time the swabbing is very accurate. Other than that, our regular carried out EPA work that we have in all the various phases that you see, it seems like we're constantly working out there. We're also encountering lead and taking care of them as we go and updating the service line inventory on a daily basis. So right now it's in its infancy. So you're not going to have a lot of known. I think we're at what, 2,500 or so?
That's been a significant piece of as we noted, is that we have so many unknown service lines in the system, right? And so there's a couple of different avenues that we're going. We actually have a contract that we're trying to get a consultant firm or a firm that's interested in hiring local residents to go out to the neighborhoods to encourage them to identify their own service line, or we can identify it for them, or that consultant can do that. So we have an area that we think has high probability of lead, so we'll target those areas to get those unknowns. Phil and his team actually are coming out with a very targeted public outreach campaign to get people to go online and identify their service lines before we even have to go into their home. That way we don't have to go into their home and we can start identifying those unknown service lines. And then also part of the construction contract packages, contractors have to be on the streets and looking at test pitting as well when they need to, if they're going to be on the streets doing that. As Joe mentioned, all the water and sewer main work that's been going out, that's where we have most of our information now because we've been capturing that as well. So we'll continue to capture that.
Joe, I gotta say, I'm living in the city for 52 years. I don't know anybody that's died of lead poisoning. And I know an awful lot of people that live to the 80s, 90s, and close to 100, and nobody's ever died from lead poisoning. This seems like a total waste of money.
It's mandated by the state.
Go ahead, James.
Oh, sorry, can I just to respond briefly to the councilman, sorry to interrupt, but no, I mean, so lead poisoning, right, there's a ton of research on its impacts. It's significantly, kids are the ones who are most negatively impacted in ages 0 to 6. It reduces IQ, it reduces impulse control, and there are certain estimates that study by investing $1 in lead removal, you get $20 back to society. So you don't die of lead poisoning, it just severely harms children, and so that's why we do it.
She went to school in the city.
I want to ask a few questions.
Go ahead.
So with respect to the cost, we're just here on the side of caution that at some point the homeowners are going to bear the burden of this cost. Is there any way we can create a program? Because the last thing I want to see happen is someone, into Councilwoman's mirror point, someone property goes get a lien because of the water. The water have been increasing. So I'm wondering, is there any way we can create a program or some type of mechanism for the additional, whatever the additional cost would be, to give that homeowner more time or some help in paying it?
Yes, so currently the MUA does have a process by which someone can submit for a payment plan rather than being hit with the cost of anything up front. For example, there could be, as the cold weather hits, somebody has a leaky service, they're unable to do it. After 10 days, we go in and get it done, and then we put it on their bill. But most of the time when they request it, we've been able to spread that over 5 years. I believe the state allows up to 5 years to pay it off over time. But I'm glad you touched on one thing. There's actually a credit portion of this program. There are a certain amount of people that have already replaced their lead service lines since the law was enacted last July. And as part of that, the Board of Commissioners, my Board of Commissioners, has approved and will officially approve soon after the Operations Committee approved to move forward a resolution on our board to approve $10,000 in rebate or reimbursement if anyone had it done for the entire line from the main to their meter, or $5,000 if they had it partially done to the curb, whereby they would still have to do the rest of it. But there is a benefit to certain folks doing that themselves because they get the benefit of the lead out of their system sooner. It causes them a little bit of work with paperwork, but they will be reimbursed up to $10,000 for the entire lead service, whereas they won't have to pay prevailing wage. We do, every one of our projects. However, there's a flip side. There's an offset, volumetric discount. When we put out thousands of these at one time, it might be an offset, but everyone has the option to do it themselves is the key.
What about if they don't want to do it?
So,
Just, because I know I'll get a call, said, don't touch it.
so the state law, that's a tricky part.
They say they don't want it, so I want to know what to say.
We're hoping we don't have to get to that point, but that's where we're going to really take a page out of Newark's book and find out what they did, because they had tremendous cooperation levels. A lot of very personal, in-person explanations of the program with the sign-off sheet, but I don't know, maybe incentives. Hopefully not, because that just costs more money, but
From
Hopefully
what I
everyone
understand, Newark passed an ordinance that basically removed the owner's ability to consent to having their lead service line replaced. So you could replace it without the owner's consent. Is that something that you guys would explore in the future?
So we won't have to, only because the governor's executive order already gives us that power. This ordinance basically makes official the ability for us to spend money on private property, because that's essentially what we're doing. For at least, actually, the entire service is owned by the homeowner from the main to the meter. That's all this ordinance does, but like I said, the executive order already tells us that we can go in and do it. We're really not trying to go there, though. So those people will save till the end, I guess.
And for the, I know you said it's going to take 9 years. Are we going to use a similar method as Newark did with the pull through, where they pull the line out? Like, is it really going to take 9 years if we do that method?
No. As a matter of fact, as we carry out our capital projects, I think a majority of these will be taken care of, but where they're not, we're going to start attacking now. I shouldn't say attacking. We're going to start addressing pockets where we think there's hot spots, and also using our priority matrix, figuring out where the more disadvantaged pockets are so we can take care of them first. Sensitive populations, things of the like. That's why we took on the schools. The schools are almost done. Be done by the middle of next year.
Middle of next year? Okay, that was my next question. So
just to be clear, not all the schools, but just the ones that were in violation of the 15 parts per billion trigger.
That was actually the follow-up. No,
I knew you were coming with it. Yeah,
I knew you knew I was going to ask.
It's fine.
Right.
It's a good thing to talk
I know
about.
this isn't necessarily germane to this ordinance, so maybe what I would request, Council President, is to have the MUA come present to the City Council to talk about what is the plan for that last group of schools, and then also maybe do a deeper dive into this overall remediation program altogether. So I think that would be, that way it's a separate issue, and the council can really just sort of sit and have that conversation with you guys.
When you say the last group, you mean the group that
The group of schools that is under that cap, that ratio, that,
under but still has lead?
yeah, under but still has lead, yeah.
Yeah, we made it.
Because we should just do all of our schools, like it should just, we should,
Yeah.
whether it's a filtering program like you've mentioned or anything like that, I think that it's just, if, don't do some, just do all.
Yeah.
Then that way this will never have to come up again, and no other council and no other school board and no other school district superintendent will have to have this conversation.
So just to be clear, we made it, well, I made it clear to the Board of Ed, and I sat down with the superintendent. You all read my email. It took me 3 days, but we got the message across. And they know that that is the very tiny little part that they are supposed to do. We're doing the big load here, right? We're doing the 12 to $14 million project that, again, the ratepayers are bearing. The very little bit that they need to do, they're not even doing the grant paperwork for reimbursement. We're doing it all, because we know that if we leave it to them, we'll never recoup anything. Not that it's a lot of money, but those final schools, yes, it's up for discussion, but right now, foot is down. This is on you guys. It's not a lot. Do it. You should be doing it right now. So.
To that point with the schools, are you looking at any other properties besides residences, like commercial properties or anything like that?
Yeah, so all properties that have lead. Now, the thing with commercial properties, most of them are a diameter size larger than lead was used for, because at some point, lead is too weak and malleable to sustain the pressure and the flow. So the majority of the, I'm going to say the majority of the commercial properties are not subject to lead service line issues.
What's the typical duration of the construction of that, digging up someone's property and remediating the line?
So in talking to a few of the contractors who did the work in Newark, if they don't do at least 2 services from start to finish without some of the finesse work, like fixing the sidewalk and fixing landscaping that they went through, if they don't do at least 2 a day, then they are not going to make any money. 3 is the best way to go. In Jersey City, it can be tough, especially with all the work that we're doing and all the permits that are out there now. We have to maintain EMS services, need to flow, fire, ambulances, so we can't clog the streets. So it's a very tight balance working with Director Patel, who's right on top of all of that. We're confident we'll be able to do that.
I'd like to, if we do have a schedule of targeted areas, that we can monitor it to make sure everything is paved correctly and within the right amount of time as well.
Absolutely. That's why we're trying to do it as much as we can along with our projects that are handling the large sewer mains and the water mains and the services. Pave once, hopefully, but
It won't take long as Pacific though, right?
no, sir. Pacific, so Pacific was basically the equivalent of double the size of what it actually was because it had double the sewer and double the water. So, but no, it shouldn't.
Or Jewett Avenue, right?
Can I,
Or SIP Avenue.
Or Jewett.
Or anything else that
Don't
we're
even
doing.
start about SIP Avenue.
Director, I just want to make sure I understand, So what you're doing is you're launching this public relations campaign. You're asking homeowners to identify the material of their water service pipe and report that back to the MUA. And then they're just going to kind of wait until you guys sort of prioritize and determine how you're going to, if it's a lead pipe, remove it.
Correct.
So I mean, in theory, they could be waiting 6 months or 6 years. Just want to make sure that I can communicate that effectively to folks when they ask me.
That's correct. So really we talked about a priority matrix just to try to be as fair as possible to every sector. But ideally, what's going to govern is whatever will not cause us to be fined by the EPA. So it's basically as our phase projects go,
Right.
as they're completed and meet those timelines, that's where we're going to crowbar, if you will, as many of these in as possible. Other than that, we're going to hit the next level of our priority matrix, which I think is the disadvantaged communities first.
And then are you guys going to do any outreach in other languages other than English?
Yes.
You specify?
Yeah. Or Phil.
Joe, let me ask you. this
Outreach was
question.
what we were going to
Finish,
finish with, but Phil could just give you 2 sentences on it.
Joe, let me ask you this question. When did they stop using lead pipes? What year? I'm just curious, yeah.
It was outlawed in the early 80s, I believe. I don't know the exact year.
Okay, because the only reason why I'm saying is if you're waiting for people to respond, wouldn't based on the year they built the house or built property can tell you exactly where they are?
Yes,
That's why I'm.
great question. So we used a company that uses AI already and pulled as much information as they can from the construction databases. Everything that exists, they put it into the machine, it comes out. Unfortunately, we're at 2,500 services, and that includes a bunch that were swabbed by Suez. Had they still read meters on the meter, it would have been different because they could swab them right there.
Right.
They read most of them from the front. And we have another meter program coming out in the next couple of years where they won't even have to read at your house. They just drive down the street and it comes by Wi-Fi.
Because I'm just curious, because when people have to, buy a home and they have to go through the taxes and all of that, they go through like, what year the house was built.
Right.
So I'm saying there's no connections, nowhere we can find this information instead of waiting for people to give us information, because I can't see everybody going to really go and worry about their pipes.
No, that's
I just can't. That's what I'm saying.
I'm sorry, let me clarify. That's optional to self-certify. That's just an optional. If you want to,
Okay.
find out that we verify but otherwise it's going to be a continuation. We have another contract coming out where they're going to go door to door and actually swab. Suez has already bought a few thousand swabs to continue their work and actually go inside as they change meters where meters are broken, not where they read them, but where they're broken.
I get it.
So we'll be compiling simultaneously, but we wanted to make sure we had the option for everyone to self-certify.
Yeah, but I get it, but I figure when we built these houses, we should have a record. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
We should have a record somewhere in this city saying this property was built in 19 whatever or 18 whatever. And based on that, that let us know the materials we was using at that time. That's what I'm saying.
I'm fairly certain that's where they came up with the 16,000 estimate. They took this many houses from 1930 whatever to 1980 whatever and assumed this many have lead based on their size.
All right. Last question. Go ahead, James.
Sorry, yes, Phil was going to do the comms, yeah.
Councilman, to your question, so the website that is up now, it's at leadfreejc.com. It's available in both English and Spanish. We also have the printed materials available in Spanish. One of the things we really wanted to emphasize tonight is we really would love to hear more, any ideas that the council has in doing more resident outreach. So if there are other languages you think we should be doing, we'd love to consider that. And if there are, any opportunities like Joe or Kate mentioned to work with neighborhood groups or other groups going on, we'd love to explore that too.
Awesome. And we can send you lists for the neighborhood groups, I think all 9 of us. And then the languages, I don't have the exact census data, but in the past, I think we've talked about Arabic, Hindi, Gujarati, Tagalog, the first ones that come to mind, but the census, I think, has the data on, languages spoken in the house.
Yeah, we can certainly explore that.
But if you reach HHS,
Yeah.
because I know they a lot deal with the public and know what languages are more prominent, that might help you. That may help your time.
I did have one question for the director that was not about this, so if we're there.
Go ahead.
Director Quinn, do you know if Veolia is participating in the low-income household water assistance program? That's a federal program to help people with payments in their water utility bills.
So what I can confirm is that we have approximately somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 that actually applied for the pay-as-you-go program, which I'm not quite sure if Veolia is incorporating the grant program that you're referring to. But I believe that went to, I have to check the Director Flanagan.
Okay.
I thought it went to HHS for each municipality, but I could be wrong. But we could definitely look into that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Christine Goodman. Oh, you got one more?
Just very,
Joe, one more question.
just, do you guys have an estimated cost or an idea of what the estimated cost will be to upgrade per line?
Yeah. So I just heard this morning Kearney bid 1,000 services, which came in significantly cheaper than what we're going to end up paying. But I think the low bid right now is at $2,500 a service. We've been paying on our publicly bid projects upwards of 10,000 per service, sometimes 12, sometimes even 14,000. But that's the gamble with the bidding. If it's more of a bid that's tailored just for services, it could be somebody who's a niche worker who likes to work on services rather than mains. Our bids are kind of like everything as you go, so that we cut once, annoy everybody once, pave once, right? So that's the trade-off, but you can never control that. It's also a very hungry season for bidders. This is when all the work is coming out and they're running out of work, so.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Christine.
Evening, Council President.
Good evening, Christine.
Council members. I have several items before you. The first one is item 10-8, Resolution 22-821, a resolution appointing Ann Wallace as the Poet Laureate for the City of Jersey City. This is a 2-year term, and Ann Wallace comes to us by recommendation of the Jersey City Arts Council. So their literary committee conducts a search and takes a poll and then comes to us with recommendations. And then Ann's name was put forward as someone who has published widely. She's actually done some wonderful writing around her personal experience with long COVID and other chronic illnesses that she has struggled with over the years. So her poetry is very moving. She's a Jersey City resident and she also teaches at NJCU. Deeply involved in the community, and she's also served on nonprofit boards. So in terms of her engagement in the community and her extensive resume, we wanted to put forward Ann Wallace as the next Poet Laureate of Jersey City.
Get a sample.
Huh?
Could we get a sample?
Well, that's a great idea.
to
So,
bring
Council President, should we invite her to the
Sure,
council
Monday
meeting
in the evening.
to have her read a piece?
Sure.
Be present? Okay.
Yeah, this way everybody get a chance.
And in the meantime, I can send a link to her work for you to review in advance.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
Next item is 10-9, Resolution 22-822, a resolution authorizing the award of a professional services contract to Floyd Simmons to provide mural services. The amount of the contract is $25,000. The next item is 1010, which is a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Jerry's Artorama of New Jersey, which is Jerry's Artist Outlet, to provide, to procure paint supplies for the painting of murals throughout Jersey City.
Yeah,
And that is not to exceed 25,000.
yeah, these murals should represent the history of Jersey City. Some of the murals are terrible. Okay, Christine?
So we do, yeah, I hear you. We work with the property owners to have a dialogue with them and with the community so that we can make sure that the community organizations that are in the areas where the murals are going and residents within a radius have the opportunity to engage and vote on projects and to see what the residents' interests are. And also, of course, the property owner, because it is their wall. Yeah.
Being the most probably historic city in the United States, we should have more history on the side of these buildings.
Director, I guess not directly connected with this, but it is art. How do we determine the different type of paint we use for the streeting? Because I know in that Grand Street area, certain stuff is fading, but certain stuff is still, like, how do we determine what paint is? Do we use all the same paint for all of the street murals, or?
We actually do not use the same paint, so I'm going to invite up the director of the Mural Arts Program, Brooke Hanson, who can speak in more detail to that.
They used the wrong paint there. I remember that quite well.
They
used the wrong paint.
We use traffic paint, so anytime we're painting on the ground, we are using traffic paint and we are clear coating it. I am not a fan of street murals. They really need to be done with boat paint and they need to be cured on the streets. The few street murals that we did were for Pride, so we recognized that they were impermanent and we did them in 3 different wards and we did them as a community project, recognizing that that was a celebration for the month. But I really don't ever recommend us painting on the streets unless we're using boat paint.
Director, quick question about the current resolution. Is this the mural that was already constructed in Berry Lane, or is this something different?
This is for the Berry Lane.
Harriet Tubman,
Yes.
okay.
Go ahead. That's it? Thank you. Director Patel.
Good evening, Council
Good evening.
President, members of the council. I have one item, 10.20, Resolution 22-833. It's a resolution authorizing an amendment to a professional services on-call contract with Street Plans Collaborative, which is a consultant that supports the functions of the Division of Transportation under the Department of Infrastructure. The amendment is in the amount of $125,000, and this is to support various citywide transportation projects through this division, as well as the divisions of traffic and engineering, mostly focusing on Vision Zero efforts in various neighborhoods throughout the city.
Is this within the budget for this year?
Yes, this is in the budget for this year. Typically, we award this consultant a larger amount annually, $250,000. We did not do that, and we didn't award them the full amount in the last year. So this is amending to increase their current contract amount. I expect that next year, when we attempt to renew this contract, whether with this vendor or another one, we would try to do the full $250,000 amount.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ed?
Council President, members of the council, I'm here for item 10.2, authorizing the cancellation of 2022 portion of real estate taxes. What happened here was that the owner of a condominium unit on 186 Wayne filed an appeal in 2001 pursuant to the Freeze Act, which is basically stipulates that once they get a judgment, you should apply the reduced amount to the following 2 years. This particular one, when they got a judgment for 2021, we were not able to apply to the 2022. The reduction equates to 1,423. So once the authorization is authorized, we'll give them that credit for that appropriate amount.
Questions? Go ahead. Questions? Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
Wendy?
Good evening, Council President, members of the City Council. I'm here regarding Resolution 22-825, Item 10.12. This is the resolution awarding a negotiated contract with John's Printing for Pat's ticket rolls. It is the obligation of the municipal court to purchase tickets for the parking authority. The paper rolls that are utilized by the parking authority are used by the handheld machines. The total contract amount is for $57,495.
How long will this last?
This is for 1 year.
We don't buy it, we don't give tickets?
Exactly.
I'm just curious, this comes out of the municipal court budget, but it's for parking authority, so.
It actually comes out of the POA fund, which is a fund that we have control of, that it's not out of the city money, it's out of the Park and Offense Adjudication Act.
It comes from the ticket revenue.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Agnes?
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Agnes Theodosio, Program Director, DCD. I have only one resolution to present to you today. Agenda number 1018, Resolution 22-831. This resolution is for subordination. It's amending previously approved resolutions from the year 2000, which was approved and authorized to subordinate Ocean MLK Renewal Associate mortgage affecting Jackson Green properties. So basically, previously was construction, now construction from Sterling National Bank is turning into permanent financing, same amount, $9,723,000, and we're again subordinating, which is a standard thing that we would do. Any questions?
Thank you, Agnes.
Thank you so much.
Silo? Silo? Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name's Salo Diaz from Community Development. I'm here to read 3 agenda items. They're to discharge mortgages from our programs. The first one is agenda item 10.15, Resolution 22-828. This is for 131 Bayview Avenue, who had a down payment assistance with us. They've reached their 10 years of affordability, and we would like to discharge it. The second one is 10.16, Resolution 22-829, 17 Hancock Avenue. They received money from our homeowner repair program, and they've also reached their 10-year maturity date. Then our final one is 330 Forest Street. I'm sorry, agenda number 1017, Resolution 22-830. Again, that's 330 Forest Street. They also received the homeowner repair program assistance, and they reached their maturity as well.
This one had, what was it? It says two different,
Or 330?
yes.
Yeah, so they received assistance from us in 2006 and then again from 2007. So they had 2 different liens on them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian?
Evening. Good evening. I only have one resolution for your consideration. It's an access agreement for PP&G Industries to install a monitoring well at the eastern corner of Berry Lane Park. and they're looking to install that to make sure that there's not a plume of chromium encroaching on our property.
29?
Oh, I'm sorry, 1029,
1.29.
Resolution 22-842.
Good? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Jack?
Good evening, Council President, council members. I'm just talking on one item today, and Resolution 22-814, item 10.1, and it's just authorizing the providing for the issuance of the special emergency notes for the retirement of to fund contractually required severance liabilities as outlined as as part of the ordinance that is on second reading today. So that'll be doing that.
Questions?
Sure.
Jack, what do we anticipate the interest rate of the borrowing to be?
Good question, but I'll reach out to our advisors and the bond counsel too.
You don't know?
I don't
We
think
don't
it's.
know when we got it?
No, I mean, it hasn't gone out for like quotes or anything like that yet.
You
So,
gotta have a range here. We know something.
yeah, I mean, it's,
Gotta be a range.
yeah, I mean, for like 5-year notes, I just know
Right.
the treasury yield is kind of a, it's like a little inverted, but it's like 4.5% for, under a year, say, but 2 years might be a little less in the mid, but that's just conventional, I don't know, with tax exempt, notes like these. I'd rather wait for their guidance.
Sure. Are you able to, I mean, I understand we're not going to have the exact amount until it goes out, but can you give us a range before Monday next week?
Correct.
Just so we have the range of what the.
Of what the liabilities are, or are going to be?
A range of what interest rate we're going to ultimately borrow this
right.
10 million
Yeah,
at.
definitely.
It's gotta be a range.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Very good.
Thank you. Mayor?
Good afternoon, council.
Good afternoon.
I have one resolution on on behalf of employee benefits. This is item 10.21, resolution 22-834. This is a resolution authorizing the renewal of a contract with Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield to administer the city's self insurance medical plan.
Mhm. Any questions? Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Don, take it from the top, and after that, we have a presentation, they tell me.
I think Jim, or was Jim, that's at the end?
Nobody gave me a ticket. They supposed to give it to the girl at the door. That's how I know. Sometimes they just sitting in here.
Oh,
Nobody said nothing.
That's fine.
That's it. Take it from the top.
Okay.
Nobody saying nothing. Do you got something, Jimmy? Okay, see, he's just here. I was right. Go ahead.
Okay, on to our first reading ordinances, item 3.1, City Ordinance 22-050. It's a franchise ordinance granting permission to 503-509 Communicore Avenue LLC, accessories and the signs to use approximately 216 square feet over the public right-of-way within 50 foot of the right-of-way of Arlington Avenue and the 60-foot right-of-way adjacent to Lot 1.01, Block 18703, on the official tax assessment map of the City of Jersey City to maintain an encroaching overhang for constructed mixed-use development. We do have the attorney here, Charles Harrington from Connell Foley, to answer any questions that you may have on this ordinance.
Any questions?
Yes, I know at one point we were talking about community contribution with regards to beautifying the area and blocking the stuff over. I don't think that's something as a council, we were obliging to. So what specific givebacks did we derive at seeing that that was scratched? Because it's no longer a part of this first reading.
For the record, Charles Harrington, but I don't recall an arts contribution. We had agreed to, we were working with the Jersey City Engineering Department to do off-site improvements in the immediate area. And that's what we've been working on. We were back here before the council in June, and Jersey City Engineering Department wanted us to review further the proposed off-site improvements in that immediate area. So that's what we've been doing all this time to coordinate with them and with the planning department.
So you guys didn't oblige to, I guess, pay for, because they wanted to shut the street off, have like some type of plaza and do some stuff in that area.
We are still doing that, and my client would be paying for all that. We're not closing the end of Arlington and Grand. Yeah, the community wasn't in favor of that, so that got scuttled, and then we worked on an alternate plan to build out around Municipal and Arlington, that corner, and do improvements there.
Okay, well, I just do want to say, just for the record, that typically I wouldn't be in support of a franchise ordinance when the buildings is infringing upon the public right of way, but I do understand that when you submitted plans, it went through zoning, it went through planning, and apparently no one ain't catch it in time. But I don't know, it just leaves a bad taste, because at some point, someone should have noticed, from either the architect entity to our city agencies. For the life of me, I just can't figure out how, once something is there, people would say, oh, hold on, that wasn't supposed to be like that. And then I'm inquiring, asking questions, and someone's like, oh, no, councilman, that's typical behavior in the industry. When it happened, we just request a franchise ordinance.
Yeah, understood, Councilman. This is a unique situation in that this is this encroachment into the public right of way above the ground floor. It's something that in the last probably 10, 15 years of my experience, if not more, has been approved by the planning board and the zoning boards. And that's why I think this was approved twice by the planning board, because we went back for amendments to revise specifically a portion of the encroachment. And it was reviewed by planning and approved by the zoning office and the building department. I think at this point, there's something that triggered, the building department will look at it a little bit closer, and whether it conformed with what has been approved over the years. And that's what triggered this. Said, well, we've been approving these, but maybe that's not really consistent with the intent here. But it has been something that's been consistently approved by the boards. They are now looking at it closer.
So quick question, when architects, when they're doing these plans, they're privy to the ordinance of the municipalities where these plans are being drawn up, correct?
They are, but this is really based on, it's a building code exception that permits encroachments into the right of way at a certain elevation and to a certain extent. So that's what all the architects over the years have been looking at that and using the building code exception, and that has been approved over the years consistently by the boards and by the zoning department and by the building department.
Chuck, question, because I just want to be sure that I'm looking at this correctly and that we know what we're voting on. You say you're no longer, initially you were closing Arlington Avenue, right? Between Grand to Municipal, you're no longer doing that?
That's correct.
Okay. And then the encroachment that you're speaking about, you said something about it not being at ground level. So is it sitting up, or
Yeah, it starts at the second floor. So at grade, everything's within the property line. As you go up to the second floor, it bumps out along Arlington and Municipal, similar to like a bay window.
like a balcony almost.
Yeah.
So not taking up any sidewalk or street.
It's not.
Thank you.
Is this something that's permanent? The encroachment is going to be something that's permanent, or it's like, I'm trying to understand.
It would, yeah, it's part of the building hangs over, the building cantilevers over. So that would be permanent for so long as the building's there. And if the building were to be removed, then it goes away.
Says it's for $1 that we're doing it. Is that typical?
Well, we're also agreed to do the off-site improvements that are referred to, that which I believe are in your package.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, the next first reading ordinance was touched on earlier by Mr. Cunha. So on to our second reading ordinances. Council members, you'll notice that the first two second reading ordinances were carried over from the October meeting, October 26th meeting. So item 4.1, City Ordinance 22-092 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, Section 332-5, One-Way Streets for Morgan Street.
Hey, Sean, on that one, we reached out to the community. They brought some concerns. We brought them to traffic and engineering. We're meeting on Monday to discuss them, but I don't think we're ready to adopt because we're going back and forth. I defer to you if we can just push the second reading back a month, or if we just table and bring it back for first reading, which I'd be fine with. Just whatever you think is easiest.
So, I mean, would you have a problem holding the public hearing and we can table?
I wouldn't want to hold the public hearing yet because I want people to like mobilize and come out for and against, because we're not at that stage yet.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll do the same thing that we did in October 26th meeting. I'll just carry it to the next meeting, which would be the December meeting, I believe, the last meeting of the year.
Would we actually be able to carry it to the January meeting, or is that too?
No, that's only from when we have a change. When we have every 4 years, we have the mayor and council election.
Okay.
So yeah, we don't have a problem doing that with, and it's a second reading on top of that. So
Great, thank you.
you're welcome. God bless.
Thank
So we carrying it to January?
No, we would carry it to the December
But
meeting.
that's fine.
No, Sean,
Yes.
all these changes like they did with St. Paul's, I'm not against one-way streets, but they have to notify the schools, the hospitals, the Hudson County schools, the police and fire departments, and they have to put up signs, and they have to notify the people in the community. They do these things and they don't notify anybody, and it's wrong.
Okay, next, item 4.2, City Ordinance 22-093 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, Section 332-5, One-Way Streets for Union Street.
Sean?
Yes.
So we are having our community meeting about this tomorrow night. Scheduling was not able to permit having it earlier, so probably a good idea to continue to follow along with Morgan. Because I'm anticipating some additional concerns, and there's some back and forth about an alternate plan on Clendenny. So I think whatever's easiest, but I think that these two sounds like they should be mirroring each other with regard to the timeline.
No problem. I'll follow the same script that we did on October 26th and just make it for the next meeting in December, the last meeting of the year, which is December 14th.
Great, thank you.
No problem. Item 4.3, City Ordinance 22-095 is an ordinance of the City of Jersey City and the County of Hudson, New Jersey, providing for a special emergency appropriation of $10 million, providing for the payment of contractually required severance liabilities resulting from layoff or retirement of employees. Item 4.4, City Ordinance 22-096 is an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Administration of Government, Article 5, Office of the City Clerk of the Municipal Code to restructure the Office of the City Clerk. Somebody say something?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Item 4.5, City Ordinance 22-097, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a deed of easement between PH Urban Renewal LLC, the Planning Board of the City of Jersey City, and the City of Jersey City, affecting Block 13102, Lot 1.03, also known as 25 Christopher Columbus Drive. Item 4.6, City Ordinance 22-098 is an ordinance amending Chapter 345, Article 4, Section 33, Fees for Historic Preservation Commission applications. And last, item 4.7, City Ordinance 22-099, bond ordinance providing for the construction, reconstruction, rehabilitation, improvement, and repair of various public buildings in the city of Jersey City and the county of Hudson, state of New Jersey, appropriating $12 million, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $11,428,000 bonds or notes of the city to finance part of the cost thereof.
Council, we're going to carry this until December, working with Councilman Solomon on some questions with outside counsel. So we want to make sure we satisfy those prior to proceeding.
Yeah, are we going to hold the public hearing on that and table it, or are we just going to carry it like we're doing?
I'd rather just carry it because, we don't.
Just want to make sure we're.
Want to make sure we're, yeah.
Got it. Okay, so we're going to be carrying items 4.1, 4.2, and 4.7 to the December 14th meeting. Just a reminder, council members, I'm going to need a motion. We'll do a compound motion together to carry them over to the December 14th meeting. Okay? Next, we have our public speakers. We have 3 speakers as of today's date. Petitions and communications. Any questions or comments on items 6.1 through 6.9? Hearing none. Any questions or comments on Officer Communications 7.1 through 7.2? Any questions or comments on Reporter Directors 8.1? We do not have any claims for this meeting as of today. Go on to our resolutions. First 2 resolutions, 10.1 and 10.2, were touched on earlier. Item 10.3, Resolution 22-816, is a resolution recognizing Gail Branch Gill on her last service at the Church of St. Paul in the Incarnation, November 20th, 2022. Next, item 10.4, Resolution 22-817, is a resolution recognizing the venue 169's grand opening on Saturday, November 12th. Item 10.5, Resolution 22-818, is a resolution authorizing the granting of a permit to D&M Fireworks LLC for a fireworks display on December 2nd, 2022. And next is item 10.6, which is our favorite resolution. Resolution 22-819. This is a resolution fixing the dates and times for the caucuses and regular meetings of the Municipal Council for the year 2023. So council members, what I did, was in front of you when we started the meeting. I have a list of the important dates that we go by, plus we also have the city holidays. And what we have done, as far as I can remember, and I'm going back at least 10 years, even prior to that, we always try to observe the holidays, the religious holidays of all religions that are in existence. So you will see that, like in the on March 9th or 8th and March 23rd, we moved those Wednesday meetings to Thursday. But I think we want to have a little discussion on that, and I don't want to step on the council president's toes in any way. So I just wanted to give you an overview of what reasons why we move some of the meetings from Wednesday to Thursday. And the only time we move the caucus meetings is when we're actually have a city holiday, when we're off on a Monday, and we make it on a Tuesday, and we always have that meeting in day in between, and then we would move the council meetings for Thursday. Now that was a lot said, but council president.
Yeah, the reason why I want to have this discussion, because Jersey City is so diverse now, and there's so many different religious holidays. If it does not fall on a city's calendar for the city to have a holiday, I wanted to discuss, would it be wise for us to cancel council meetings even though we're working? Okay, because we work still, we don't have the holiday. And so there's quite a few now. So I don't know if it's best for us just to follow the city's calendar with the days off. I think that might be a better solution, but we open for discussion because there are a lot of other spiritual holidays because we're so diverse now, and I don't want to step on anyone's toes. So if we just follow the city's calendar, with the holidays that we have off. I believe we may play it safe, but I'm open, so what do you think?
If we're going to take all the holidays, and I'll also suggest National Women's Day.
That's what I'm saying. We don't have authority to close down the city, but there is like federal holidays that we are closed. There are certain holidays that the city is closed. So I'm saying it probably wise that we just follow the city's calendar because there are too many days now. And we're not closed. And so there's no need for us to, cancel a council or a caucus meeting, but we're still here working. So what do y'all feel about that?
I just want to keep in mind, I don't have a horse in the race. I'm just saying that a lot of these religious holidays start on sundown. And I just want to throw that out there. And that's why we've always tried to make sure that if a religious holiday falls on an actual Wednesday, which it normally doesn't, but this year next year, there's two that kind of fall on the Wednesday. And that's the only reason why I had them for Thursday, but we're still open for discussion on this.
We're here Wednesday though, right?
Which holidays?
Yes, we're actually in work on Wednesday. So
Tell her two holidays that fall.
it's Holly on March 8th, and March 23rd is the first day of Ramadan.
What's Holly?
That's the festival we always go to.
Festival
Journal
Colors.
Square.
Color
Like
festival.
you see them with the colors, like powder.
Spring Festival.
Right. Next one.
Is the Ramadan, first day of Ramadan. But again, like Holly, if they have Holly, what time does that usually start? And does the council attend that? That would just be a question that I would
Rather
have.
not be on Ramadan.
Go ahead.
I'm starving.
I was going to say, I think they most of the time do that celebration here in Jersey City on the weekend, if I'm not mistaken. But I think that we should probably stick to the city schedule, just because there are a lot more holidays that we're recognizing now. And we don't want to miss anything. Like I'm looking at this list of important dates, right? So I don't see, just scanning it very quickly, I don't see Juneteenth, I don't see Diwali. I know the schools are closed on Diwali now. So I think by us trying to compensate for everybody, we're actually missing some stuff, and we don't want to offend people one way or the other. So I think it's a little easier to just stick to the standard city schedule.
Yeah, and just a reminder, like Juneteenth, the city is off. That's a recognized city holiday. We're only talking about holidays or religious holidays that fall either on a Monday or a Wednesday. We're not going to be concerned with us being off or not on any other day, that only the days that fall on a council meeting days. So
You're just moving it to Tuesday and Thursday, right?
that's correct.
Well, that shouldn't, I don't see it.
Here on Tuesday.
I know, but in the evening, if you're doing Ramadan, like there's a lot of events that happen in the evening. You have to go to the mosque, like it's a high holiday for Muslims. If there's the ability to move it, then we should move it.
Question we have now. How do we want to deal with it?
So for
Three Kings Day. That's what I'm saying. Y'all opening up the can.
You have to move it for all of them if you move one.
I mean, there's no other, there's only two Muslim holidays that Muslims celebrate. I really don't want to have to fight for Ramadan. I mean.
Wait, it's not that we're fighting. We're not fighting. We're just trying to be fair across the board. And that's why I said we all have different religious holidays that we do celebrate. That's why I'm saying it might be wiser if we just follow the city's calendar, and if that is your holiday, you should have a right to be excused with no problems.
Especially when Three Kings is not here as well.
So
we're
if we
opening
can
up.
move it to Tuesday and Thursday. If there's the ability to do that, then we should do it.
Maybe I can suggest instead of voting on the schedule at this meeting, we look through the list and come up with different, because I think the idea is we want to be fair. So how do we come up with something that's fair and think about how we do that?
I think part of the challenge is going to be is because it's we're so diverse now, and there's so many different religious holidays. How can you be fair if you don't celebrate them all? That is the question. How can we be fair? Now, if it is your holiday, you should be excused to celebrate it.
Sure.
But
Of course, it's the challenge, I think, is, you know, if it's a major holiday and it's not on the city calendar, it does exclude members of either that faith or nationality or ethnicity from participating in the public business. You know, it's not just an employee who can take off the day, it's members of the public who can't come and speak to us if we're voting on something of importance to that community.
that's everyone.
It's true.
That's my thing. It's every religion.
So maybe we can, I don't know what the answer is. That's what I'm saying. So we need to think through a little bit of where we can find the right, draw the right lines and fairness for everyone.
So you guys celebrate Christmas, right? Like, yeah, it's closed.
That's what I'm saying. We're closed. That's what we're saying.
Okay, so if we
City
can move-
holidays, if they're closed, you know, then we don't have a problem, but we're still working on certain holidays. That's the issue,
I work on every holiday. Like, we have no days off.
you know. That's my thing. We work. The city's closed on certain holidays.
Just want to throw it out there again, just to remind the council members that myself and my office, we go through all of these meetings, all of the religious holidays, like we've done for Robert's entire career for over 31 years. And, you know, more and more holidays have come in, religious holidays have come into play. And we've always tried to observe some of those holidays that may fall on a Wednesday. So the calendar that's in front of you was gone through by almost, I would say, about half of my staff to make sure that we didn't miss anything. But we are human, we can miss. But again, we're only looking at holidays or religious holidays that fall on a Wednesday or a Monday. And there was only 2 instances that came up. And that's where you see in March, where I moved the 2 Wednesdays to Thursdays, the council meetings. So all that was done. The rest of them are because we are actually off.
What happens if next year we're looking at the schedule for the following year and then it's like, oh, it's 4 now. So now the people from the previous year are gonna be like, well, y'all did that. Y'all, I mean, it's people gonna, this is, I don't know. I mean, to use a point, it's like, all right, it's our one holiday, right? And I get it, I understand.
We can discuss this. We can pull this and just, when do it has to be, we'll discuss it amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how we'll do it. So this.
Just
way here,
keep in
we'll-
mind, we pull it at this meeting, we have to adopt it at the December 14th meeting.
Right, it's a resolution, so.
Okay.
we're good.
All right.
So we'll withdraw it and we'll bring it back for December 14th. Okay, next, item 10.7, resolution 22-820 is a resolution approving the appointment of Paul Pinto to the Jersey City Arts and Cultural Trust Fund Committee. Items 10.8 through 10.10 were touched on earlier. 10.11, resolution 22-824 is a resolution ratifying and authorizing the execution of a memorandum of agreement between the City of Jersey City and the Jersey City School Traffic Guards of Local 245.
John, does this man every school with crossing guards?
Councilman, that's the number that we budget. It's 224 is the number that would get us to that. We are having some issues with recruitment that we're working through, but this is just to ratify terms in the contract as far as pay, vacation accruals, and uniforms. So this is specifically for the ones that are already employed, but it doesn't mandate a number of posts. Those could vary. The council wishes to increase funding for more or decrease. It's at the discretion of the council.
So is it the lack of funding the reason why we don't have crossing guards? Because at one point I heard that people weren't applying for the jobs. At one point they were saying the hours didn't match someone's lifestyle. So what?
It's difficult. It's the hours are an issue. We have increased the compensation, scaling up to $22 an hour in 2025. However, that also is counterintuitive sometimes because those individuals may not be eligible for certain benefits outside of the employment. So it's kind of a catch-22 that we're trying to work through. Ideally, what we try to recruit is, stay-at-home parents or retirees. But in the winter and the warm weather comes through, they may not necessarily be so inclined. But it's not just us, it's every city has been dealing with something similar.
People aren't called back either.
We could work on that. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. It just scares me when I drop my kids off and I go by some of these schools, the lack of control, and then a lot of these kids, unfortunately, my kid is one of the kids, they just go, right? And the last thing we want to happen is an accident, so.
Yeah, follow up with public safety on that. I do know that the 220 posts that they have would potentially cover every intersection adjacent to the all the schools. And some of the heavier congested ones that don't have coverage, they do use police, but obviously that's extremely cost sensitive. So we're trying to work around that.
Okay. 10.12 was touched on earlier. 10.13, Resolution 22-826 is a resolution authorizing a lien against properties listed here for the cost of removing litter, debris, etc., in accordance with the NJSA 40:48-2.14 and Jersey City Code Section 287-4. Item 10.14 through 10.18 were touched on earlier. Item 10.19, Resolution 22-832 is a resolution authorizing the United States Environmental Protection Agency to enter property designated as Block 7001, Lot 1 on the tax map of Fairfield Township to conduct remediation activities. Items 10.20 through 10.29 were touched on earlier. Item 10.30, Resolution 22-843 is a resolution approving the notice in lieu of a deed notice for Hudson County Chromate site number 188 in accordance with NJAC 7:26C-7.2 C and 2 and 1. Excuse me. Item 10.31, City Resolution 22-844 is a resolution authorizing business agreement pursuant to a lease made to the Museum of Jersey City History in accordance with NJSA 48:12-15.
Sean, we're going to carry this. I'm going to withdraw this item and we're going to carry it to December. The administration's worked with Councilman Borgiano to make sure the contract is consistent with some of the language that we've discussed.
Thank you, John.
Okay, that'll be marked withdrawn. And last, item 10.32, Resolution 22-845 is a resolution consenting to the transfer of properties located at Block 25901, Lot 1, formerly known as Block 1464, Lot 67, also known as 390-406 Ocean Avenue, Block 24002, Lot 53, formerly known as Block 1322, Lot 189, also known as 507-523 Ocean Avenue, and Block 24001, Lot 38, Qualifier X, formerly known as Block 1312, Lot 81, also known as 525-539 Ocean Avenue on the tax maps of the city of Jersey City.
John, did he come, the seller? And,
The attorney for the seller and the buyer are both present to answer questions.
oh, okay. I have a lot of questions here. I reached out, I was actually waiting for the CEO to call me back, but I guess they didn't get around to it. Issue with these properties here is that these were affordable housing dwellings. And this purchase will essentially take it out of that domain. As I understand it, the additional portion of the affordability period will be bought out, correct?
Good evening, Council. Stephen Joseph, attorney for the purchaser. I'll let the seller's attorney speak as well, but this is a three-phase project. Two of the phases have already expired. The last phase is expiring, I believe, in April. The DCA, which primarily funded this together with a tax abatement from the city, has already issued a payoff. Approximately 1.2 million is getting repaid to the state. I'm expecting a payoff from the JCRA in a similar amount as well. But yes, there's a little bit left over. My client's agreeing to allow the tax abatement to expire early, along with all of these restrictions. And I did also want to clarify that even though these restrictions are expiring, the 30 years has passed, it doesn't mean the building's not rent controlled. It's a large project. Rents are not going to go up to $5,000 a unit tomorrow.
Can I jump in real quick, Councilman? 'Cause
Denise.
I want to clarify something he said. Can you clarify which two parcels of the properties abatements have expired and which hasn't?
I don't recall off the top of my head. We could certainly get that information for the next council meeting.
Both of y'all,
First, yes.
because both of these council people represent the property. Okay, she has a portion and so does he. So you should know what's really going on.
And that's part of my issue is that when I called New Communities, no one knew what was going on. Then as I transferred me to about 4 or 5 persons, then the 5th person like, oh, I know what you're talking about. Yes, we're in charge or whatever. But more importantly, right, for me, what's problematic is these are about, in total, it's 33 units, right? And we're selling this, well, the New Communities is selling it for 4,250,000 something.
3.5 million, Councilman. Sorry to interrupt. 3.5 million.
Wait, so why does it have in the paperwork 4.2?
The sale price has been adjusted several times over the course of the.
So you said you're selling it for 3.5?
The sellers I represent.
It even makes it even worse because at 4.2, we're looking at 128,000 per unit, which is drastically cheap. And you've given me a list of all of the current properties that these individuals own. Ironically, they have paid about 3.5 million between 2018 and 2021 to acquire 10 properties, right? So while the affordability rate is about to be over and there is market rate, I'm afraid that these establishments are going to be knocked down, bringing way for new establishment, thus pricing out these individuals. And what's even more problematic is New Communities' core mission is to help individuals in inner cities' quality of life. So the reason why I asked that they be here, because I wanted to see for the last 30 years, you provide all type of different educations via New Community. Why wasn't there something that you created for these people who resided in these establishments to have the opportunity to purchase? Why isn't that option out on the table versus selling it to a developer at to give me price considering the rate of property in Jersey City?
Sure. So I will allow the seller to respond to that, but I did want to say that I think the reason why the property is so cheap is because of these restrictions, because of the current rates of the rents, and because the tax abatement is expiring. So the taxes are going to jump up dramatically, and the current rents, which still rent controlled. So rents cannot go up tomorrow. You cannot just evict somebody just because you're buying the property, right? So the rents are very low. The taxes are going to be very high. That's why the purchase price is what the purchase price is. But I'll yield to the seller's attorney.
Even in that instance, there's still these are still drastically, low prices, literally. Lots in Jersey City are going for upwards of $1 million. But go ahead,
Yeah, my name is Tony Tolles. I'm Director of Real Estate Development for New.
Sir, I'm sorry. If you can just raise the mic up to you, it'll stretch up. There you go.
Is that better?
Yes.
My name is Tony Tolles. I'm the Director of Real Estate Development for New Community, but I'm not a lawyer. We've put a lot of time and energy into these projects over the years. They're all 30 years old. They all need some work, which we don't feel we can provide. What we're going to use the money for is, one, pay down the debt on Ocean Bayview instead of having to use other sources, and put the rest of the money back to work into other low-income housing, low and moderate income housing.
so you don't know why they didn't look to seek and sell it to the individuals that occupy the dwellings now?
Well, I know generally it was not a secret that properties were up for sale and no one, came or brought it up to us. But translating this into a condo facility is both very difficult and complicated and take a lot of time to do. But we need this money to help us finance another housing project we've got planned.
Convert on Ocean Avenue, there are 2-family homes. You know they are different between the ones on Ocean and Van Ostrand, correct?
Yes,
They're 2 different establishments. So how hard would it be to sell those individually? I understand the problem with Van Ostrand, seeing that they are adjacent to each other, but on Ocean, these are individually 2-family homes. 9 separate houses.
Bless you.
Bless you.
You're breaking the project up into 2 portions.
No, are you familiar? That's how it's written.
Right.
I'm not breaking it in portions. Parcels on 390 to 407 Ocean is it's one thing, which affordability rate is set to expire or expire. The other ones are separate individual 2-family houses. Am I missing something here or no?
Councilman, I don't believe any of the properties are individual 2-family houses, so they're all on one. There's 3 separate tax lots, and there's separate buildings on one of those tax lots with 2 units in it each, but they're not separate 2-family houses. There's 3 separate complexes, 3 separate properties that have complexes. Some of those are attached, some of them are detached, but they're one tax lot.
So you're telling me that you can't sell 511 Ocean Avenue as a 2-family house?
That's correct.
And what will prohibit that?
Like I said, it's a single tax lot with multiple properties on it. It's not just one 2-family house.
I don't know. And again, the people that's occupying this, no notice was given out. No notice that you guys were looking to sell, potentially sell, nothing. And here it is, the immediate transfer of property takes away affordability. Why wasn't any notice? You don't think it was within your due diligence to notify the people that's occupying the property that, hey, we're looking to sell, or we're close to a sale, or, we're about to sell it? No one said anything.
We were reluctant to. I say that it was wrong because we've never looked at the project in the way you're looking at it.
Say that again?
We're not looking at the project the way you're looking at it. You're dividing it up into segments, which from the rent rolls or from the.
I asked them, they was supposed to come today, he didn't come.
So I think, yeah. I know it's a tight timeline between now and Monday, but I mean, if both attorneys have some time, I think it would be best to sit down with myself and Councilman Gilmore.
Hold on, so I
answer
misspoke.
some of these.
He is not an attorney. I believed another attorney was coming. He works for New Community.
Oh, okay,
The attorney was to come here, but is in the hospital.
okay.
Well, John, could you set up a meeting with Councilwoman Ridley and Councilman Gilmore concerning this? Because they both are responsible for this property in a sense. Okay, this way here, their questions could be answered. Because right now, it seemed like they're struggling to answer. And so is just right. Just the mere fact that, you know, he asked the question, was the community notified, was the people notified? If there's a change in ownership, somebody should tell somebody something. That's all I know. All right, and we don't want to be here all day with that, set it up. It's not, we're not voting on it or whatever. Have a happy Thanksgiving, that's good, right? Go ahead, John, that's all we could do.
Yeah, I thought they would.
We're not getting nowhere with this.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, with that being said, I have a motion to adjourn at 5:57 by Councilperson Saleh,
Second.
seconded by Councilperson Ridley. On the motion to adjourn at 5:57 PM, all council members present by acclamation, please say aye.
Aye.
We are out of here at 5:57 PM. Thank you so much, everyone watching at home and everyone present. Remember, teamwork makes the dream work. Have a very happy Thanksgiving to you and your families. Stay safe, everybody.